So again, I welcome you all to the HPC in the City St. Louis Hackathon Discord and GitHub training. Now, this training session that we're having today is actually the first training session where we have both the mentors, the organizing committee, and participants and staffers all together on one Zoom session. We make sure that we do these different training sessions to include the information that will be beneficial and to make sure that your teams are successful during our upcoming hackathon, which will be starting on November 4th and then running through November 8th. For some of you all, this is your first time, so you're going to get to understand some of the deliverables and things like that. But before, just to let you know what we're going to talk about today, we're going to have some quick introductions of the organizing committee. You're going to get to learn me, that guy that you keep getting emails from, as well as I'll be presenting today. The hackathon objective, our deliverables and resources so that you're aware of what's expected, and some general information, and then we're going to dive right into the training itself to ensure that you are aware of these tools. Now, I want to take a moment and introduce our organizers. So right now, I believe we have two other members of our organizing committee with us, Miss Amy Cannon from Omnibon. Amy, would you mind saying hello?
Hello, everybody. Great to be here today with all of you.
And Dr. Linda Hayden. Oh, she's waving, but we couldn't hear you. Oh, okay, there we go.
Hey.
All right, and we also have my brother from across the sea, Alex Nolt. He's not here. He's actually over in beautiful Estonia and or Greece, depending upon the time of the year. Mr. Boyd Wilson from Omnibon, who has supported us from the beginning, as well as Amy Cannon, who I've said is always the heart of our group. And Dr. Hayden has been the driving force that actually had this grand idea that now is in its fourth year that we have been working together. And then myself, my name is Jimmy Powell. I'm from TAC, or Jamie is just fine. And let's go ahead and move forward, please. Come on, slides. There we go. So now the objective of HPC in the City of St. Louis is to basically take the resources, skills, knowledge that are all found in the HPC, so the high performance computing community, and bring them together in a time-bounded, concentrated format to exchange ideas and work on problems that in this case are directly targeted towards issues affecting St. Louis and the greater metro area, as well as Missouri as a whole, as a state. During this time, you as participants, you'll actually have increased familiarity with data science in the cloud. So in other words, you'll be actually using skills as opposed to just learning about them. You'll experience collaborative software engineering, which is its own interesting bit of learning. There is a bit of a learning curve when you're programming collaboratively, and then you'll develop some professional communication skills because you'll be presenting your results at the end of the hackathon itself. Now, having said that, there's some things that we are going to want from you all as teams that you're going to be presenting on November 8th, that night. You're going to have a GitHub repository, which we're going to learn about today. Within that GitHub repository, you're going to have source code, including your comments, a PDF of your presentation that includes your team members with pictures of your team members. You're going to explain how your team used HPC technology in the project. And you're also going to say what the regional impact to St. Louis, the implications of that project may be. As well as in that GitHub repository, there's going to be a readme.md. You're going to see that today, that you want to make sure that you add a project description to. Some of the resources that you're going to have available, you're going to have Google Cloud credits that are going to be provided by Google. You're going to have access to Cloudy Cluster, as well as the personnel and skills from those that actually program and support Cloudy Cluster from Omnibon. Some of the more commonly used resources in people's projects include Python, Jupyter Notebooks, Node.js, Replit, and HTML. All of these hopefully you've either heard of, or if not, you will be intimately familiar with by the time you're done with the hackathon. And again, Discord, the reason we keep jumping on Discord is because that is our method by which we communicate during the event. If you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. The 3 T's. I always like to break it down a little bit for the 3 T's. Each team will be comprised of 4 to 5 students, 1 primary mentor, and then 1 specialist or staff member. These teams, some of y'all are going, teams, how do we join teams? The teams actually will not be formed until November 4th. Now, there's some students that may have talked together, they may be from the same university, and they've decided that they want to work together. But generally speaking, for the vast majority of you all, your team will not exist until November 4th. After that, we're going to have daily check-ins on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday morning, we're going to have what are called check-ins. And during these check-ins, basically your team gives a 1-slide, 1-minute update of where they are. And during those check-ins, quite often, I make sure there's some surprises and some little mini contests that go along with it. And I know what you're thinking, contest, yay, woohoo. But just a hint to you, for those of you that have never been a part of one of HackHPC's hackathons, we give cash prizes. But wait a second, Jamie, we're virtual. How do you do that? If you recall, during your registration, we asked you for your PayPal because we send those funds directly to you. So just putting that out there. And then, of course, on the 8th, we have our final presentations. Some topic examples include, of course, COVID-19, economic disparities, social justice, genomics, molecular dynamics, weather modeling, social justice, AI-based crowd status. Ms. Jocelyn was actually handled that, and she will actually be given a end-to-end project training session the Thursday before the event. So I highly suggest you watch that. Public data management, graduation rates, broadband access, which of course is a big deal, insurance and public health resilience, and the list goes on. Now, some of the mentors are actually going to come on that Thursday night, our kickoff night, and they're going to give some 1-minute presentations of suggested projects in order for you to choose their project to work on. But once you're in that team, your team may adjust it as needed. So it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be pretty interesting. Now, communications platforms, Discord and GitHub. Now, you've heard me say that a couple times, and for goodness sake, it's the name of the training session. The reason for that is because we use these tools so much, we want to make sure that everyone has a basic understanding of these tools because they are so vital. We understand that everybody's skill level here is varied. We have students that have either very, very little programming skills, or they may just be starting out, up to PhD level skills who are considered the specialists in their field. And we're putting you all together in a group. There's some basics, there's some foundational level information we want to make sure that everyone has. With Discord, of course, we're speaking about communications, textual, and voice. We'll talk about that in a second. And then with GitHub, we're talking about our visual and archival information for our programming information in our slides and things. So that's why we include GitHub as one of our communication platforms. Think of it as marketing. Discord itself. Now I'm gonna switch over to Discord here briefly after the next slide, but just to put it out there, some of the basic functions of Discord. Now, many of you likely have used Discord or something like it, such as Slack, but its primary functionality allows teams and members to message each other. What that means is we are spread out all over this country, and in our last hackathon around the world, Discord allows us all to interact, and yet in a central location, allowing us to share files, do screen share, meeting rooms, and even just hang out in a room. If you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which hopefully you will not be, you're up 3 o'clock in the morning working, just hanging out in a room, somebody's playing music, and y'all can just talk and work as you will. And of course, file exchange, which always can be interesting. Discord, the Discord server, the HackHPC Discord server has a few channels that we've already set up. One of the primary ones is HPC in the city of St. Louis. During the event, that's where I will post any announcements, anything that's going on, training sessions, any special events / contests that may pop up, hint, hint, wink, wink. We have our assistance channel, which is a voice channel, so you can come in and just ask your questions if you like, or tell somebody, meet me in the assistance channel. You know, we can help each other out. The HackHQ General, and of course, you're going to be making, or I should say, your mentor will be making a custom team channel for your team, so that a private channel just for your team. Some of the tips, just to let you know, I'm going to show you how to browse for a channel, which in the case of Discord is very easy. Over on the left-hand side, you're going to see it. You're going to be able to see how to create a group if you'd like. And then I do want to talk about the conference features, because if you're coming from Slack, it's a little bit different, although Slack has recently added the Discord way of doing it. But we're going to show that. There is one thing I do want to tell you about that is you may want to try for yourself. In the case of Mac users, it's Command K. In the case of PC users, it's Control K. That allows you to search. So let's take a look at that real quick. So let me drop out of here. Now let's switch over my share to Discord. Let's scroll that up a little bit. Share. Excellent. There we go. So here is a very brief view of Discord. And actually, I'm going to move it over, and I'm likely going to have to reshare it here so you can see it in its full glory. Let me open this up a little bit. For my fellow taxsters, we use Slack as our communication device. And up until this year, actually, we use Slack for the hackathon. We decided to switch over to Discord because we actually found that more students utilize Discord, as well as the fact that Discord is free and open, so that we could maintain our community over the course of the year, as opposed to ending it between events. So that's why we switched over to Discord, if anyone was wondering. So right now I'm in the general channel. This is the channel that everyone lands in when they first start. And you see we have a couple of people that have joined. If we wanted to message general channel, I could go down to the bottom here, type in hello, and boo bam, I'm talking in general channel. So those of you that have Discord now, you just heard a little beep beep, and there I am. Over on the right-hand side, you have a listing of all the members that are within the general channel. And so here we see that Edgar actually said hello back. Now, let's say I wanted to have a little private conversation with Edgar. I can actually click on him and go, I see you. And I'm actually messaging him directly. It kicks us over to a private session. Not too bad. So within here, I could drop files. So I'm sure that Edgar needs a copy of the calendar invite for the training session. And boo bam, he actually has that file. It's pretty cool. Now, one other thing you want to notice that Edgar, even though I know Edgar, he has his own personal profile. That is perfectly fine. We know that many people, as you see on mine, I'm connected to other Discords as well, Discord servers as well, and using your personal account is perfectly fine. Of course, as long as the person knows who you are. Now, there's one other thing I do want to show here. So I'm going to go back. Right now I'm in direct messages. I'm going to leave direct messages. I'm going to click back on HackHPC, puts me back in general. And I'm going to head on over to HackHQ general area. And you notice I have a couple more controls here. Now, Edgar was kind enough to meet me here. And inside his general chat area, now I could turn on my camera, which I'm not going to because I am actually going to, I'm going to risk it. Why not? no, I better not risk it. I don't want to throw Zoom off, but I can video chat with Edgar. I can share my screen with them. And also I can just flat out talk if we wanted to, so that we can share this space. So also, just to put out there, if I wanted to add a new channel, I can add a text only channel by hitting the plus button there, or a voice channel by hitting create channel there. So for your group, I will of course suggest you make a voice channel so that your group can join and multiple people can talk and share files and all that good stuff. One other trick I do want to throw out there, let's say you're looking for a specific person. I just hit my Command K button. And let's say I'm looking for Edgar. As I typed Edgar's name in, even though his username is different, I do see this is Edgar. I can select them, and now I'm again back in the private messages. So for those that are used to using Discord, this is old hat. For those of you that have never seen Discord before, now you have an idea of just how this works. Now I'm going to actually put myself back in the general channel. There we go. And I'm going to stop the share. So that is a basic overview of Discord. So let me go ahead and share out my slide deck again. There we go. Let's go ahead and get this going. Let's move forward. Now, GitHub. For my programming specialists out there, that GitHub is where they spend their life. You're not going to learn anything today. I'm sorry. But for my students that you've heard of GitHub, you're just new to programming, or even you're intermediate to programming, or you've never used GitHub before, this is going to be very helpful. But this is, I want to warn you, this is just the surface level of GitHub that I'm going to go into. What do I mean by that? GitHub has two major ways in which you interact with it. Well, I can say three if I include the desktop client. The way I'm going to show today is the web-based way. So we're going to go to GitHub, the website, and we're going to work from there. The second major way that people generally interact with GitHub is they actually do it from command line. So from the terminal, or from within a program like VS Code or Atom, if you're using that as your editor. Those have connections to GitHub that can also do these similar things. I also want to throw out there is a difference between GitHub and Git. Although they link together, GitHub is mainly talking about the website version of it. Git, just plain Git, is generally talking about the command line version. And that command line version can either be a local repository being a place where your code is going into. Generally speaking, locally, it's usually a folder and you have files in it. Having said that, I don't want you to get confused when people say Git or GitHub. They can connect together, but I do want you to be aware there are local versions, but those local versions of Git can connect to GitHub. I know it's a little bit interesting. So that's why, instead of me going into all of that, not to mention there's things like merging code and conflicts and things that there are people who their sole job is to take care of such things like that. I'm going to show you a straightforward way using the web in order to use GitHub. I'm also going to mention GitHub Pages, which is a really powerful feature that will make your project look a bit snazzy. Just letting you know. So with that said, let's demo. Now, the demo I'm going to use today is actually located here at github.com at my GitHub Git intro is one that I use many times, but I do want to put out there, demos, live demos are often interesting, very interesting, but we're going to do our best. Hopefully everything goes well, and those behind the demo curtain will allow us to do what we need to do. So here we go. So first, I am at GitHub. Now, right now I'm logged into my personal account, which brings up a good point. As a part of this hackathon, what I've often seen is there's one person on your team that sets up the GitHub and they take care of it. Well, that means that that repo is theirs, and that's perfectly okay. But what I suggest is that you follow or fork, well, I'm going to say watch or follow or be added to a repo project in order that so that all of you all will be listed there. One person can do it. And I always suggest you have a person that's in charge of deliverables to make sure you have everything together for your presentation. However, I also want to make sure that you get proper credit and that you're linked, because GitHub, especially as a programmer, it's often looked at as a part of your portfolio. So when companies are looking at you for a particular position, you have code snippets and things like that on your GitHub. Personal note, so I'm also a lecturer at the University of Texas, and I teach Introduction to Scientific Programming, as well as computational programming in the Department of Engineering. Those little programs that you work on for class, especially that final project that all of us know, and I'm sorry, it's halfway through the semester, so I'm sure it's in the back of your head, this knowledge that you have this project to, don't just let them go. Create yourself a GitHub profile and copy your code to that profile. Highly suggest you make a README file for it, which you're going to see me work with today, so that it explains what's within that project as well. That's a part of your portfolio. It's worthwhile taking those extra 10 minutes so that in the future, when you're working at a job or put in for another position, you can refer to those code sets and refer your future employers to those code sets as well. All right, I'll get off I'm stepping back. I'm standing down, Edgar, I'm standing down. So this is a repository that I created. Now, to take you through that process, what I did was when I logged in as myself, I went to the little plus sign and I went to new repository. I typed in a name for it, a brief description. I set it to public and I clicked add a README file. That was it. And then I clicked create repository. I know it's so difficult. No, this is the straightforward, easy way to do that. In doing that, what would have shown up here is just this little README file. It has the name of the repository and then whatever the description is. So you keep hearing me talk about this readme.md. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And you see that this is GitHub repo and design, but if I click on raw, let me back up a little bit. If I click on edit, you'll see that the Git intro actually has a little hash sign in front of it and then test repo. That .md extension, so readme.md, MD stands for Markdown. Markdown. Now, what Markdown does is it's a method by which you can basically programmatically write a document, but style it as you go. And there's lots of information out there on this. So for instance, if I were to go under a test repo for Hackathon, I can add let's say a bullet point, which happens to be a star, or let's put a title here first. I'm gonna put two hashes, space, and I'm gonna say things covered here. Hit enter. Now I'm gonna put one star and a space because I want a bullet, and I'm gonna say awesome thing one. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to add another bullet point because you should never just bullet point once, but we want to do an awesome thing 2. And let's put one more thing out there for awesome thing 3. And we're going to say on the awesome thing 2, I'm going to tab in and say, this is important also. And I'm going to make this italicized. Ooh. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom This is the power of GitHub. I'm going to say what I did. Added my awesome things. Down here at the bottom, the reason you have to add this, you add commit changes and then it asks for notes, is because it documents the changes you have. It gives you what's called a change history. When you're working on a program and you fix things, that change history can often save you. Or someone accidentally deletes something, which is actually kind of difficult inside of GitHub, but it can be done. That change history can save you because it tells you why something was done. So it's extremely important to use this feature. I'm going to click commit changes. And now you can see that now my README has things covered here. Awesome thing 1, awesome thing 2. This is important. It's italicized and awesome thing 3. It is, here's a word for you, it's rendered out. So my markdown code was rendered out into this. Not bad, eh? Kind of neat. So having said that, let's go another step further. So I'm gonna go back to the main repo. So I'm going back to Git intro instead of README. And I'm gonna add a file here. So on my desktop, I have a folder that has everything that your project should have. It has a presentation in it with pictures. It has code in it, and it also has a picture that goes along with it. So I'm going to click add file, and I'm going to go to upload files. Upload files. And I'm just going to click and drag my excellent team project in here. You see it uploads. There are limitations to file size, just putting that out there. And of course, it'll let you know. And you see I have my team presentation. I have a picture in here. I have a readme.md. I have a main.py, so some Python code, and my data set. And down at the bottom for my commit changes, because we want to say what we did, added my team project info. And in the description, I could add exactly what I added. Put in the presentation, team pick, code, and data set. Add it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit commit. Take a moment. And now I have my excellent team project. I can click on it. I have my PDF. So if I click on it, it actually gives me a little preview of the slides, which happen to be the slides for today. My data set's there. I have a picture here. I'm pretty happy with this. And the readme.md that's within this folder, it actually renders everything out. So my excellent team project, team members, me, myself, and I, purpose, and the picture, and how to use my code. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. And so if I go to the readme.md, the one that's rendered out in here, and I'm going to go to edit file, you can see I'm just using that markdown code to add the pictures and the code. And even more important, I added a little link here so that you all can see what that code is. Now, just for giggles, I am going to drop that code in where's he going to drop it? He's going to drop it in the general channel of Discord. So GitHub Markdown. I know this is one big gray box for you, but I'm dropping that link inside of GitHub just for you. And just so you can, if you want to take a look at this repo, so let me go back here. I'm going to drop that link in there as well. Join Discord. Now, there's one other thing I want to show you about this, actually two things. The first is you can actually take a look at the commit history. So this is that history of things that happened. So if you wanted to change something or revert, you can. The other important things, it says who did it. So let's say that there's 5 of you on your team that are adding things. If something broke or is missing or whatever may happen, you can see who did it and you can see that change history. But there's a last thing I want to show you, and it's called Get Pages. I could turn this into something really cool. Instead of looking just like a regular page, a regular GitHub page, I can go to settings. And over on the left, there's a section that is called Pages, which I am looking past. There we go, Pages. And when I click on that, this actually allows me to turn this into a page. Now I want to show you an example, a better example than the one I have here of a GitHub page. So we're changing gears here so you can get an idea of what this is really like. One of the links that I keep sending you is the HackHPC event page, HackHPC event page. So the way we get there, if I go to hackhpc.org and even go to HackHPC, HackHPC in the city, up on the top right, we have a button here called HPC in the City Hack Hub. If I click on it, it's a web page that has our pre-event sessions. Now, this page is actually our main event site for this hackathon. So the rest of our schedule is going to be here as we have speakers and things like that. We're going to have links to their videos. Each of the event training sessions, we have our slides and review video if you'd like to take a look at it. So this is our main place to come. So in other words, if during the event, you're like, what in the world is going on? Where am I supposed to be? I need to get my life. You can come to this event site and you can actually find out what's going on. But this was made on GitHub. So right now it's a web page where my name, jimmyhp.github.io/hackhpc/HPC in City 21. If I click on view on GitHub, you can see this is just a repository, just like that last one. Inside the repository, I have an index.md, index.markdown. So instead of index.html, I have an index.md. And inside of there, this is the site. I go to edit. It's just markdown text. It's so much easier to make. But then it's presented as a web page. So if I go to environments, view deployment, it's presented as a web page. And all these CSS styles are controlled by a theme. It's just a theme. So let me put that in perspective. I'm going to drop back. If I go to HackHPC past events, and I am really hoping I remember which team it was that I want to show. So I'm going to go to past hacks. And under past hacks for HPC in the city, I am going to go to, I believe it was the Rosadas Tigers. Let's see here. Yes, that's the one. So this is a team from last year that they worked on breast cancer prediction. As you can see, they have their code listed here. They have their README file set up. They have some information here of a preview. Not too bad, not too shabby. By itself, this is great for your portfolio. But then if I click on their GitHub pages and I go to view deployment, it's an actual website that I can go through. So just putting that out there for you. All right. I have talked enough about that. I'm going to drop back to my presentation. We have successfully completed our demo time. Whew. And now I can actually say that we are done with that training session. So I am going to open the floor to questions, but before I do want to say that we will have, of course, training sessions leading up to the event on November 4th. Our next training session next week, which if you have friends that you have asked to join you, this is a training session. The next 3 training sessions are the ones you want them to come to. So the next training session will actually cover Google Compute Cloud, how to use it, how to set it up, how to use the different features, and Cloudy Cluster. And that's actually going to be presented by Mr. Boyd Wilson of Omnivine. I highly recommend if there are some friends that you met that you were like, you need to go to the training session, go to that one. Please. It contains some essential information that will get your team started on the right foot. After that, we'll have our data to dashboard training, which will actually be presented by Ms. Lissa Pearson. During the projects, there are a lot of teams that end up using something called Flask, which allows you to make basically a web page / application using Python, which is wonderful. The problem is that many teams run into the issue of where they're going to put it. Lisa Pearson's going to come in and show an example of some code that is an application, and then she'll show you how to bundle the application and then actually serve it from a service called Heroku. Highly recommend you do that. And following that are Jocelyn, one of our own, who has been in your position as a participant and has now been on this hackathon will be her 3rd time participating as a student mentor, will actually show us how she's taken an idea and gone from an idea for a team on through to a final product. So it gives you an idea of the entire timeline of how it works and some of the issues that her teams have faced and how they've overcome them. Beyond that, our schedule is of course there. Now you know all about why that link is so long, github.io HackHPC HPC in the city 21. The schedule will be there. It's going to be updated as we go along. So beyond that, what I'm going to do is I am going to end the recording and then open the floor up to questions. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.